dig a little deeper. We did, and found people all over the world in search of miracles. That story begins right here in Philadelphia with a 7-year-old boy in a coma on the verge of death.
I was scared. I really was scared. And I knew something, but why me? Why my son?
But little Chucky didn't die. His recovery may have been a miracle. Mary Banks from Langhorne, Pennsylvania, is still searching for her miracle, a cure for her cancer.
I know miracles are possible because I was supposed to be, you know, dead 3 years ago.
In Lourdes, France, 64 miracles have been documented by an international panel of doctors.
The bone's totally destroyed here.
Yes, and reconstruct here without any treatment. And that's very amazing.
The Holy Land, birthplace of 3 great religions, homeland of Judaism, and a different perspective on the supernatural.
There's a partnership here between the Jewish people and God. And if we keep our part of the deal, then we feel that God will intervene. That's one of the secrets of our existence.
In Jesus' name. Oh, hallelujah.
There are those who believe they can channel the power of God to heal the sick. The Vatican. Thousands gathered to celebrate a miracle to take the Philadelphian one step closer to sainthood and to receive blessings from the Holy Father.
Can you say something special to Americans on miracles?
Bless you well.
Thank you.
Okay, Jimmy, let's go to work.
James Irwin, astronaut Apollo 15. He found his miracle literally on the surface of the moon.
Guess what we just found? I think we found what we came for.
I came back as a witness to the fact that God performed miracles out on the moon. Miracles are happening in our time, in our age. So it's an exciting time to be alive.
Last fall, in a Channel 10 news poll of registered voters, 37% said they didn't believe miracles had ever happened. But more than half refused to rule out the possibility of miracles. In fact, 23% said they or someone they knew had personally experienced a miracle. That's almost 1 out of every 4 people surveyed.
Surprised? We were. But as we journeyed halfway around the world in search of miracles, we discovered a new emphasis on belief in miraculous events. Somehow, even in these days when we require scientific proof for just about everything, the human need to understand spiritual mysteries is stronger than ever. Our story begins here in Philadelphia at the Shrine of St. John Newman. It's a case of a little boy, a narrow escape from death, and perhaps a modern-day miracle.
My priorities have all changed. Things that were important to me then isn't important to me now. I'm a different person than I used to be.
Nancy McGivern's life changed on a cold December day in 1982. Her son Chucky came home from school one day with a fever.
I called the doctor. He says it sounds like the chicken pox. And it's going to have to take its course. By Friday, he seemed like he was really getting sick. During the night, we heard this screeching sound. And my husband got up and we both ran into the bedroom, and he's trying to get up out of bed, and everything on him collapsed. With that, we called the doctor, and the doctor said, get him right to the hospital.
So he ended up going to Children's Hospital.
They told us he was in bad shape, that he had Reye's syndrome, and it's very often a fatal disease, and that usually there's brain damage. If they would survive, the brain is usually damaged in some way.
When you went in to see Chucky, when he was in the coma, what did you do?
We just told him we loved him, and we wanted him to get better. I couldn't feel nothing. There was absolutely nothing. I couldn't. I was afraid.
I was sleeping. Yeah, I had a dream. It felt like a real long dream, and it wasn't like a regular one that you usually have.
It looked like he was dead. He was completely white, like milk. His skin was ice cold. He had tubes hooked up to every part of his body.
I had a dream that I was in a hospital, and I was just sitting in bed, and all these kids came around. They were giving me all these presents.
We decided to sign the papers to have his plugs pulled.
It must have been very difficult to make the decision to pull the plug.
They told me if he will come out of it, he will be brain damaged. I said I didn't want him to live like a vegetable. I couldn't face him like that. He didn't look like our boy anyway. So that's when things started different, started happening then.
It began with a relic, a holy remnant of clothing said to have been worn by St. John Newman. The McGiverns put it, along with a medal showing the saint's picture, on their son's pillow. At first, the medal was facing upward.
I came back later on, and it was face down again. Well, this happened at least 3 times. And I thought I was going crazy.
And a nurse came in, and they were like all real nice to me. And I had like one special friend. He had like glasses.
The nurse came down and said, "Did you send anybody up to visit your son?" And we said no. The one doctor looked up and seen the boy standing in the corner. And he said to the boy, "What are you doing here?" And he said, "I came to visit Chucky." And they called security. Nobody could find this child.
You got a sudden phone call from the nurses. You weren't expecting that. What was your reaction?
Well, first I remember with the phone, I thought it was over. And I was hesitant, and she said to me, "Don't worry, your son is going to make it. He's moving. Come down and see him." When we got there and he's putting his hand up to his head, his eyes at that point weren't open. Just to see him move was unbelievable.
Then when I woke up, I found out I was in the hospital, and it felt weird because my dream was in a hospital. I wasn't sure if the dream was true or it was really weird.
The doctor, when he said to us, he said, "We've never had anybody so gravely ill recover so fast." He said, "Something has happened here."
The hospital's records show that Chucky was released just 3 days later, well on his way to a full recovery. No one could explain it. Nancy and her son went to the shrine of St. John Newman to give thanks. And then they saw something they never expected.
Chucky looked up and he says, "Look, there's the boy that was in my dream."
It was like my special friend in a dream. It was the same kid.
And what was the picture of?
St. John Newman when he was a little boy. And that's when I knew something happened. That's when I knew miracles fit in somewhere.
Our search for miracles continues in a moment.